watching.
Hi everyone, this is J.M.Wong again. Welcome to another video. And forgive me for my voice. It sounds really weird because I have been sick and I had sore throat and stuff like that, and therefore my voice is a bit shaky at the moment. Anyways, today what I'm going to talk about is about a book. Yes, I'm going to talk about a book. This would probably be my first book review video, and the reason why I wanted to do book review videos this year is because I want to motivate myself to read more and read faster. And in fact, I completed this book in January, but because, as I've said, I've been sick and I was busy with work, I didn't have the time to film this video. And now I finally had the time, and yes, I'm so glad I could actually talk about it finally. And yes, and as I've said, book review videos. Hopefully for the coming few months I would be doing more of these book review videos as well. Anyways, this is the book I'm going to talk about. It is The Little Shop of Happy Ever After by Jenny Colgan. I'm not going to spoil anything because I feel like there's so much in this book that you can go check it out, and there's so many surprises. But I do want to briefly talk about the concepts, the overall concepts in this book as well. Before doing that, I will also talk about the style, the way I read books. As you can see, this book is quite old, and you would see there are it's quite damaged and a lot of folds, pages that are folded. And if you go inside, there are a lot of pages where I highlight a lot of lines inside here. So the reason for doing that is because this is the way I read. For the first time of reading, I would go through the content first. So basically spending a few hours or one day to read the whole book for the content. And later on, I would go back to each chapter and go through the words again. And then it's about line by line, words by word. And sometimes I would even read it out loud to kind of train myself, the pronunciation, because I'm not a native speaker. And when I come across the lines that are beautifully written, I would definitely highlight it. And later on, when I complete the whole book, which is to copy down the lines that I've highlighted into my writing journal, so that later on in the future, if I do come across similar scenes that I want to describe and I don't know what kind of words I can use, I would go back to my writing journal and, kind of reference to the phrases that I've jotted down. And yeah, this is basically the way I read books. So back to the story. In fact, overall speaking, this book is about a girl who chases after an impossible dream. Why I could relate to it, it's because the story started with the protagonist losing her job, her stable job. This kind of relate to me, even though I don't want to experience that experience of losing a job, my stable job, which is teaching at the moment. But that kind of fear, I do have that kind of fear, and this protagonist of this book kind of described it quite well, the fear of losing your stable job. And when she didn't know what to do, an idea came to her, which is to open a shop, a little bookshop. But it's not any ordinary bookshop. The bookshop is in fact a little book truck, which is a concept I really like, and I hope it will become real in Hong Kong. Like, a book truck is similar to a food truck. So a food truck is a mobile kind of restaurant that sells food, right? So a little book truck is a mobile shop that sells books. So basically a truck that goes around different places and sells books. And yeah, I really like this concept. I really hope that I could do that one day in Hong Kong. But as quite written in this book, there are a lot of issues, legal kind of issues, or issues related to the law and stuff. So basically, I feel like it's quite realistic, like the struggles that you will face in reality. So yeah, she mentions a lot of struggles, how she finally set up this little book truck, and during the process, she got a lot of help and met a lot of friends, and of course, because this is a romance novel, she met the man of her life. But as to who, I wouldn't say. But I would say it's definitely a little surprise for me, and there's a twist at the end. It's like, I never expected that to happen. That's what I felt the moment I got to the last 3 chapters, I would say. So yes, this book kind of gave me a dream that I've never thought of, which is to open a little book truck and go around places, travel while sharing your love for books and at the same time earning some money. As to how I got this book, it's a very interesting story though. It's that there was one night where I met a friend that I only knew for one night, which is exactly that night. And when she knew that I love writing, I like reading, and I'm a bookworm and stuff, she recommended me to go check this book out. I was in England, I remember, and she said, like, you definitely have to check this book out. And the next day, because I was so curious, like, why she strongly recommended it, I go straight into a bookshop in England and bought that book the next day. And when I start reading it, there's this little clip in one of my vlogs where I was actually reading this book, and then I was blow drying my hair, and I just couldn't put it down, and I had to finish it no matter what, because it's just amazing. And yeah, I would say my friend didn't disappoint me by recommending this book to me. And one of also the things that I'm talking about, the target audience, like what kind of readers will be most suitable for this book, is first is definitely young adults or anyone who have started working, because this is definitely about like a girl who struggles about work. It's not about school anymore. Like only people who actually start working would understand the struggles that the protagonist is going through. And I would definitely say it also suits readers who have actually been to Scotland, or at least England, because a lot of the settings here is set in Scotland, and all of the sceneries describe Scotland and the Highlands, and luckily I've been there. So when I read those parts, it was like me going back to Highlands, and I really like that part. So if you've been to Highlands and you've been to Scotland, this is definitely a book for you. And yeah, and if you like a little bit of romance as well, this is also good. And because I really love this kind of books about bookworms, like I would say this should have a new category for this. Like, it's not just romance novels, but romance novels, like bookworm styles, no romance novel. I'm not sure what the term is going to be, but this is definitely romance novels for bookworms, because it talks about bookworms. And in fact, recently I found 2 more books that are I believed to be quite similar to this book, which is this 2. Yes, one is How to Find Love in a Bookshop by Veronica Henry, and also this one is The Book of Tomorrow by Cecilia Hearn. Not sure, but I believe these 2 books are quite similar to this one that I talked about. So I would definitely start reading these two books very soon, as I've said, because I really like this book. And when I completed it, I would definitely talk about them in the future as well, hopefully. And yeah, as to what book I am currently reading would be, so this is the book that I'm currently reading, which is How to Stop Time by Matt. I don't know. Anyway, the reason why I chose this book as my next book is because before I found these 2 books, as I've said, I was still so into the romance and romance stuff, and I sort of realized I have bought this. This is in fact a romance novel as well, but has fantasy elements in it, which is different from that. This is a realistic novel. This is a fantasy kind of novel that has romance in it, but still, because of the romance element and because I like fantasy stuff, I decided, well, why don't I start with this? And yeah, at the moment, I think I would complete this very soon, and hopefully for the next book review video I will be talking about this book. And yeah, I know this is my first book review video, and it might not be as good as I've expected, because I'm still quite new with the whole book review video thing. And yeah, hopefully you like it. So if you like it, remember to give a big thumbs up and to subscribe. And yes, let's end this video by saying remember to stop existing, start living, and be alive. Bye!